must mean this is my soulmate. This is my twin flame. This is somebody that I'm supposed to be romantically connected with.
Come on, Dov.
And it doesn't always mean that. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Dov.
I'm Nicole.
And we're spiritual teachers, twin flame coaches, and life strategists. And we wanted to dive into a really important subject today about, understanding what happens when you feel like somebody is familiar or feels like home. How many people have ever experienced that before? I mean, obviously,
yes.
Right? We're here together, but we haven't just experienced that with each other.
No.
And that's what's really critical and interesting, because as you're on a journey of trying to understand what it means to feel familiarity with somebody, to feel that kindred connection, to feel like somebody feels like home, it's kind of important to have this discussion, because we can often take a blanket concept and just apply it to ourselves and say, this must mean this is my soulmate, this is my twin flame, this is somebody that I'm supposed to be romantically connected with.
Come on, Dov.
And it doesn't always mean that.
How many times have you actually connected with a soul that actually at the end of the day was probably like a sibling energy, and as soon as you felt that deep connection, you're like, this is the one, right? And there was other parts of you though that didn't feel like, you weren't sure, and you're just like, oh, should we just be friends? And we are, as a society, we are starving for love. We're starving for love, and we're starving for romantic love. Right? We are four-legged creatures, four-armed creatures. Some mythology actually says we were that before until we were split in half. But many of us, will connect with a soulmate, connect with, someone that's connected to our, the star that you guys came from, and we'll feel a deep, deep connection, and we'll want to make it something that it may not be.
Right? We always want to, I don't want to say always, but a lot of the times people want to make a strong connection romantic. And it's really hard to understand that we can have these really strong connections and they not be romantic, right? And so, why does that happen, right? Well, Nicole talked about it. So there's starvation of love, needing love. We're hyper isolated as a society.
Yep.
We're hyper separated. And there isn't that acknowledge of our sort of energetic ancestry, which is to be, in union. A lot of times people say yep, you can't need a partner, don't need a partner. And yes, there is dysfunctional aspects to that. If you don't think that you are whole without somebody, if you feel like you cannot have joy without somebody, right, there needs to be healing work. On the other hand, needing in the desiring sense and going this is a part of my life experience that I am craving, wanting to have. And to some level, it's a need for me, right? The way that it is a need for me to express myself. There is a normalcy to that, okay? And so when there is an imbalance in our system, when these areas are not totally explored and totally healthy, then every time your system experiences something really deep, we're gonna automatically relate it to something romantic. And part of that too is because we don't know how to do intimacy in society. We don't know how to do intimacy, right? So, how many times would you maybe judge, or somebody in your family or somebody would judge, if you see two people holding each other? Holding hands, embracing, being connected, would you automatically, or do you know, did you grow up in a family where that would automatically relate to something romantically intimate, right? And so, even just looking at those examples of even culture to culture varies. Some of you guys are in a different culture and your culture might embrace really often, right? So my Brazilian friends are yes, we just hug each other, and my amazing friends in the UK, men have so much more intimacy with one another. They hug each other, they cry, they kiss each other,
they
sometimes
cuddle
on the lips, they cuddle, right? And so why is that happening, right? It's this cultural difference of how we can show intimacy in non-sexual ways. But a lot of countries, the country we're in at the moment, or the United States, that stuff is really designated more predominantly for intimate relationships. And so again, when we go into a feeling of oh my God, I'm feeling something so deep, so profound, then we're automatically going to say, this must be my romantic divine counterpart. And we can miss things. When I was in my early 20s, I realized my mother was a soulmate for me. I remember feeling wait a second, aren't soulmates supposed to just be romantic? And then realizing a soulmate is simply somebody that you spent a lot of time, a lot of lifetimes with, have a very deep connection with, have a lot of different engagement with, and they're really a part of your energetic experience. And so absolutely not are all of these things romantic, but we can really throw a wrench in it when we push against it and decide it's romantic when it's not.
Oof, I have been there many a time. I actually lost friendships due to, pushing it to certain, places with people, and, you kind of learn the hard way. So, I just want to end it with saying to you that the two things that are really important for this, because you're probably going, well, we always want to put a label on something. We want to know right now. I need to know. And we miss the journey, right? We miss I'm going to use the word patience, y'all. What a virtue. It's a virtue. It's a heavenly virtue, patience. Why is it a virtue? Because it gives us time to inquire. It gives us time to see. It gives us time to feel and experience something with another human being. It took 7 years for the twin flame concept to hit me and my boo. And I needed it at that time because we were about to break up. We were about to get a divorce. Right? I'd left. And it was that information that went, it gave me the information necessary for me to understand what our connection was at the time. I wasn't looking for it. It came to me when it was needed. That's because I was inquiring within myself of what can I do to allow for us, because we love each other so much and hate each other so much at the moment in that time, right? 7 years into the relationship, it was like, what can I gather to understand where I am with this person? And there's many relationships that you guys went through that afterwards you were like, whoa, that was a bad idea, right? And it's okay. It's okay. You have to give yourself patience and time to inquire the connection. Patience on getting to sex. Come on, getting to the sexy time. Like, what about taking some time to get to know someone? Get some, like, and intimacy, looking at each other in the eyes, holding hands, communicating, listening, right? Hugging each other. Like, we have all these other things that can happen, and they're so beautiful. They make you feel so good inside. Then taking it all the way there before you really know if this is someone that you want to build a relationship with, a romantic relationship with. Do they carry your values? Are you equally yoked with them? Are your beliefs kind of in line? So the vibration makes sense to you. Are they in the way you are in? Are they in more than you?
Yeah, right. And a lot of times this can occur, this sort of recognition can occur in somebody that we haven't really met before. And sometimes it is because it's indicating to us that there is something there. There is a future sort of nod to what's going to come into your life. This person's going to come into your life. You guys are going to connect. You are meant to be together. But sometimes it's about, I find people all of the time. Sometimes I see people, in the world that I haven't met online. Sometimes I connect with people at the grocery store, and I can feel that sense of home and recognition in them because they're part of my broader soul family. They're part of my, soulmates in the world. And it doesn't mean that that needs to become something romantic. And it's important for us to be able to ground into that deciphering, right? And we're going to make a lot more videos and talk a lot more about how you guys can be able to hear yourselves and start making distinctions inside of yourself. Because if every time, and the other thing too is that when we start to become spiritually conscious, when we start to awaken and have an awakening, that's a word a lot of you guys use going through the ascension process. The thing is that you can get very catalyzed by people who remind you of home. And so you immediately create a strong attachment to that person because of that sensation, right? And this isn't to say that that's not your twin or your soulmate or any of those things and you're not meant to be romantic, but it is to say to think about it, because we certainly all have experiences where we feel intimacy with people that are not meant to be a romantic partner. And being able to cultivate that intimacy in a non-sexual way and be able to recognize those connections and build those connections in all of their strength is actually part of our evolutionary journey. And it's really beautiful and really important as it cultivates and builds more intimacy within yourself. So I hope that this has been helpful and clarifying, and wherever you've found this on our various social medias, please make sure that you are following, liking, and subscribing, and that you can share this with other people if you find that it was supportive.
Come on now.
Bye.